intermediate live lesson. Okay, comments are off. When you're ready, have a go at what's in front of you, please. Okay, not going to spend long on the starter today, only because we've got so much to get through. Right, guys, last minute or so on this. Right, guys, so I'm going to go through this really quickly, okay? Got loads to get through today, so I would like to get through all of it in about, in the time. So, 6x take away 9 equals 45. This one's worth 2 points, okay? So we're going to add 9 first to both sides to get rid of it. 6x moves straight down. 45 add 9 is 54. If we divide by 6 to both sides, to get rid of that 6x, just turn it into an x. I end up with 9. X equals 9, 2 points. Next one, 0.8 times 0.8. Ignore the decimal points first. 8 times 8 is 64. No. Millie. No. 8 times 8 is 64. Okay. I've got 1, 2 numbers after the decimal point, so I've got to count back 1, 2, put a decimal point in. Always have a 0 before the decimal point. 1 mark. Next one, find an x. Okay, this is a bit of trigonometry. Now, it's important... being terrorized by my dog, sorry, hang on. It's important that you nail these steps every single time. This is an easy question. And the steps are simple, but just get really, really good at them, okay? So, label the sides first. So, this side down by here is my opposite side. This is my hypotenuse because it's the longest one. And this is my adjacent. Now, once you're there, you're going to get rid of, once I've written SOHCAHTOA, you're going to get rid of the one you don't need. I'm going to get rid of the side I don't need. I don't need my opposite because it's not got anything on it, so I'm going to get rid of opposite. I'm going to be using cos, okay? So that's C, A, and H. The reason I draw the triangle is because it tells me how to do my working out. I'm looking for A. So what I do is I cover A with my thumb. Whatever's not covered is my working out. My working out is cos times by h. So I got cos 56 times by h, which is 9. Cos 56, remember, close the bracket, times by 9 gives me 5.03 centimeters for side x. Very straightforward, same steps every single time. Everyone finds this quite an intimidating topic though. Just got to practice it. 3 points. Right then, so x squared minus 7x minus 18. Millie, shut up. Scratching her ear now. X squared minus 7x minus 18 equals 0. Okay, we gotta factorize this first into two brackets. Now you gotta find two numbers that multiply to make negative 18 and add to make negative 7. So numbers that multiply to make 18, you got 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 6 and 3. Okay, the ones with a gap of 7 and 9 and 2. Okay, in order to get negative 7 as an answer, it would have to be negative 9 and positive 2. Okay, now that's those factorized into a double bracket. Now, in order to solve it, I've got to work out what would x have to be for these brackets to times together to make 0. Okay, on this side, x would have to be positive 9 for this bracket to make 0, times it with that one to make an answer of 0. Or, over this side, x would have to be negative 2 in order to times together with this bracket to make 0. Okay, so that would be the two answers for x. That's 3 points. Right, next one. So, I got a bit of indices work, okay? 6 times 8 is just 48, that's easy. And then x7 and x5, you add the powers together. So 6x, sorry, the dog knocked over my can now. I'm literally being terrorised. x7 and x5, they add together to make x12. Okay, you add the powers together and times the two front numbers normally, 2 points. 5 over 6, take away 3 over 5. Okay, oh, hang on, it's not even on the screen. 5 over 6, take away 3 over 5. Okay, you want to make the bottom numbers the same. In order to do that, I'm going to times them together. 6 times 5 is 30 on the bottom of both. Minus stays in the middle. Once I'm there, I cross multiply. 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 6 is 18. 25 take away 18 is 7. 30 and 30 leaves 30 on the bottom of the answer as well. That's 1 point. 35% of 340, 10% is always the first one we find, is 34. 30% is 3 lots of that, which would be 102. Okay, 5% would be half of 10%, which is 17. And then I add up 30% and 17, which gives me 119 for 35%. 35% is 119. 1 point. Next one. Okay, simultaneous equations, usually quite difficult. They should be okay though. So, I've got to make the y's the same. In order to do that, I'm going to times the top by 5 and the bottom by 3. That'll make this into a 15 and that into a 15. If I times the top by 5, I end up with 15x plus 15y equals 105. Bottom one times by 3 is 15x take away 15y equals 75. Okay, if they're different signs, you've got to add. Okay, add them up. Okay, if I add them up over here, I get 30x. These cancel out, equals 180. 30x equals 180. X would have to be 6. If x is 6, I'm going to substitute that back in the top one. 3x, so 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 3y equals 21. Okay, take away 18 from both sides, you end up with 3y equals 3. That means y has to be 1. Okay, very straightforward. Right, last one. Okay, nth term, you're just looking at the jumps. It's going up in 5, so it's going to be 5n. And then whatever comes before the first number goes after the n. It's going up in 5s, and that's at 3. So it's going to be 5n minus 2. Right guys, so it's really important you do buy into these starters, okay, and have a good go. Because if you get really good at these topics, intermediate tiers can be easy for you, okay? That's that done. Right, moving on to what we're doing today. So, standard form. Now, write the following numbers in standard form. I want to write that in standard form by there. Now, standard form is just a way of writing big numbers mathematically so you can do maths with them. Okay? So, instead of writing 4 million, I would write a number between 1 and 10. I'm going to make this, you've got to make this a number between 1 and 10. In order to do that, I've got to move the decimal point. A decimal point at the moment is by here. I'm going to move it to by here to make it a number between 1 and 10. So I would have 4 times 10. Now this is the difficult bit, okay? However far over the decimal point is moved is whatever goes next to the power of 10. So this has moved over 6, it's moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So it's going to be 4 times 10 to the power of 6. The one underneath. Okay, I've got to make that a number between 1 and 10. Okay, because standard form is always one number between 1 and 10 times 10 to the power of something. Okay, I'm going to make that between 1 and 10. I'm going to put a decimal point in between the 5 and the 6. Okay, it started by here. Okay, so my answer is going to be 5.64 times 10 times 10 to the power of 5, because it's moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. 5.64 times 10 to the power of 5. Right guys, have a go at the ones on the left, write those down, make sure you understand it, and then have a go at the ones on the right. Right then, so very quickly, these ones on the right. Now, you've got to put the decimal point somewhere to make this between 1 and 10. The decimal point's currently here. I'm going to put it between the 1 and the 0. So I'm going to have 1 or 1.0 times 10. The decimal point is moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So my answer is 1 times 10 to the power of 7. Underneath, I got 89 million. Okay, I'm going to put I want to make this the number between 1 and 10. My decimal point is going to go between the 8 and the 9. It started by here, so my answer is going to be 8.9 times 10. Decimal point is moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces again. 8.9 times 10 to the power of 7. Right guys, so similar thing, right, if you're going back the other way now. Okay, 4 times 10 to the power of 5. I've got to put that back as a normal number. Decimal point is started here, it's moved over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Okay? It's the same as writing 4 with 5 zeros. It's the same as 400,000. Okay? 7.8 times 10 to the 6, similar thing. I got 7.8. The decimal point's got to move over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. You fill in any gaps with zeros. So my answer is 70. It's 10 to the power of 6, so it's 7,800,000. Okay? Have a go. Get those down for me. Have a go at the ones on the right hand side for me. Right, same thing. I've got 7 decimal points over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. And you've got to fill all those in with zeros. So I'm going to have 7 with 8 zeros. Okay, 7.45 times 10 to the 4 decimal points within 4 spaces can be 7, 4, 5 with a 4 and a 5 and then 2 zeros on the end. Right guys, so what I'd like you to do, have a go at some questions by there. You put in the top ones, you're going to put those into standard form. The bottom ones, you're going to try and write them as normal numbers. I'll give you 2 minutes to get that done. Right guys, so mark what you've done for me, please. Right then, so moving on, okay? Now we're going to try writing really small numbers in standard form as well. So it's not only for really big numbers, it's for really small numbers too. Okay, so again, your left-hand number always has to be between 1 and 10 every single time. So I want to put the decimal point somewhere between 1 and 10 here. I want it to go by there to make it into a 4. Decimal points moved over 1, 2, 3 spaces, but because it's a really small number, it's 4 times 10 to the power of negative 3 this time. 4 times 10 to the power of minus 3. This one's really easy because your power is just counting up the zeros. Okay, this one by here, my decimal point, I want it to go there. It's moved over 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So it's going to be 7.8 times 10 to the power of negative 4 because it's moved over 4 spaces. Okay, and it's a really small number. Okay, have a go at those. Get those written down for me, please. No, shh, stop, stop. Right guys, same thing over here, okay? So I'm going to put decimal point by there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So my answer is going to be 6.0, or 6 times 10 to the power of negative 4. Same thing at the bottom. I want to make it between 1 and 10, so I'm going to put it between the 5 and the 7. It'll be 5.7 times 10. Decimal points moved over 5 spaces times 10 to the power of negative 5. Remember, the quick way, if you just count the zeros, that's your power when it's really small numbers, so it's loads easier. Okay, right, next one. Okay, when we're writing it the other way now, exactly the same, okay? Okay, we're going from 4 times 10 to the negative 5, so we're going to write a really small number this time. Decimal points moved over 5 spaces. But remember, the power is just the number of zeros you need to put in, so I got 0.0000. I've got 5 zeros, 5 on the end. Same thing by here, I need 6 zeros this time, 0.000078. Okay, and we can check that by looking as it moved over 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 spaces. Yes, it has, so I know I've done it right. Get that example written down, have a go at the ones on the right hand side for me. Over here, guys, same thing. Okay, this time it's going to be loads of zeros. On this one, it's going to be 8 zeros there. And the same thing on this one, it's going to be 4 zeros. Okay, so I find it loads easier when you're writing going between smaller numbers. I find them easier to put into standard form. So 0.000745. Right then, so have a go at a couple of questions on that for me, please. I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we're going to try and work up to a GCSE question to finish. Right then, guys, so you should have something that looks like that. Well, let's work on, mark those for me, please, real quick, and let's work on trying to build that to a GCSE question. You zoom in a little bit just so you can see what you're marking. Remember, all of these will be negative powers at the top. cool. Let's try and build up. Okay, so multiplying and dividing. So multiply and divide, add and subtract is the most important thing you need to learn about standard form in order to do GCSE stuff. The stuff we are doing is kind of the prerequisite stuff you need to know. Okay, once we're here now, multiplying is really easy. Okay, take the powers first. So I've got times 10 to the 5 and times 10 to the 3. You treat them exactly the same as the way you would on indices. You add them together if you're multiplying. So 10 to the 5 and 10 to the 3. I'm going to add those two together to make times 10 to the power of 8. That's done already. So you do those properly. And then the front numbers, you multiply them normally. So you do 4 times 2 just gives me 8. Okay, so the front numbers, multiply them normally, add the powers together. Exactly the same as you would with indices. Underneath, same thing, but kind of the opposite, but for divide. Okay, our powers, in this case, we're going to take them away. So I've got times 10 to the 6 and times 10 to the 4. Take them away to give me times 10 to the 2. Then 9.6 and 3.2. Divide that is exactly the way you would normally, with normal division. 9.6 divided by 3.2 goes in 3 times. So my answer is 3 times 10 to the power of 2. Divided and multiplied is probably one of the easier ones. Get those examples down. Maybe write yourself some notes. When you multiply, you add the powers. That could be a note to write down. And then have a go at the ones on the right hand side. I'll give you 1 minute to get all that done. Right then guys, same thing on the right hand side. Add the powers together, so 10 to the 5 and 10 to the 3. Add them together to get times 10 to the power of 8. And then 3 times 2 is just the number 6. Same thing underneath, 10 to the 7 and 10 to the 4. Take away our powers, so we get times 10 to the power of 3. 8 divided by 4 just gives me 2. Okay, very straightforward, dividing and adding standard form. Very easy one to get correct. Adding and taking away is a little bit different, okay? What you've got to do when you're adding and taking away, you've got to convert these numbers back into normal numbers, add them together or take them away, and then put it back in a standard form. So I've got 4 times 10 to the 5. That's the same as 4 with 5 zeros. And 2 times 10 to the 3 is the same as 2 with 3 zeros, or 2,000. If I add those two together, I get 402 with 3 zeros. Okay, you can use column addition to do that. And then you've got to put it back in the standard form whenever you're answering a question like this. So that's going to be 4.02 times 10 to the power of 5 as a final answer. Put a line in there just so we know it's different. 4.02 times 10 to the power of 5. Underneath, same thing. Okay, if you're taking these two away from each other, I got 9, 6. I'm going to put it in column this time because this isn't going to be a straightforward subtraction. 9, 6 and 5 zeros. And then I've got 3.2 times 10 to the 4, 3, 2 and 4 zeros. Okay, I think that's correct. No, that's too many. 3, 2 and 3 zeros, sorry. So 3, 2 and 3 zeros. Okay, if I add those up, I end up with 9, 6, 3, 2, 0, 0, 0 on the end. And then if I put that back in a standard form, I don't know where I'm going to put this. I'm going to put it over here. 9.632 times 10 to the power of 6 is my final answer. Okay, very straightforward adding, taking away. You just got to get really good at the stuff we practiced at the start. Have a go at those ones on the right for me. Make sure those examples are down. Right guys, so the ones on the right hand side, I got 3 times 10 to the 5 and 2 times 10 to the 3. I should end up with 3 with 5 zeros and 2 with 3 zeros, so 300,000 plus 2,000. You'll end up with 302,000 or 3.02 times 10 to the power of 5. Similar thing on the bottom, but we're taking away now. 8 times 10 to the 5. Take away 4 times 10 to the 4. If I take them away, I end up with 6 and 7. So I end up with 7,007.6 times 10 to the power of 5. Okay, exactly the same as you did over there. So that's how it looks when it's a proper like when you're doing adding and taking away. Now a proper GCSE question looks something like this, okay? So have a go at this for me, please. I'm not going to give you long on this. I'm only going to give you about a minute and a half, and then I'm going to go through it, okay? This is what it looks like. This bit is divide. Okay, that bit in the middle, that means divide. Right then guys, so I'm going to go through it very quickly. If you haven't had time to finish, don't worry, it's going up after this anyway. So this one, okay, I've got to make it into a number in standard form. My decimal point, I want it to go between the 4 and the 2. Okay, so it's moved over 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So my answer will be 4.2 times 10 to the negative 4, because remember, it's a really small number. Same thing with the dividing by here, okay, exactly the same thing. Okay, with our powers, we're going to be taking them away. 6 take away negative 2. 6 take away negative 2 turns to a plus, because minus and a minus makes a plus. So that'll give us 8. So be careful with that. So it's going to be times 10 to the power of 8. So that's the powers, take them away. Front numbers, I'm dividing them normally. 7.2 divided by 2 just gives me 3.6. Really straightforward for 1 mark. Last one's worth 2. Calculate the value of 4.7 times 10 to the 5. Okay, 4, 7, and it's going to be 4 zeros. Take away 6.2 times 10 to the 4. So make sure you line everything up when you're taking away, and everything hugs the right hand side. So I've got 0, 0, 0. 0 take away 2, I can't do it. 10 take away 2 is 8. 6 take away 6 is 6. And 4 just goes on the end. So my answer is 4.08 times 10 to the power of 5. Really straightforward standard form question. That's as difficult as they will get for you, okay? Literally as hard as that. Okay, if you got that correct, well done. If you didn't quite get it right, don't worry. Again, it is a topic that takes a little bit of practice, and I've squeezed a lot into about 40 minutes there. Guys, well done. I'm proud of all of you, and keep up your good work.